This is Carl at National RV Detroit, and I'm going to walk you through your Catalina Trailblazer model 19TH toy hauler. Okay, so here I am at the rear. You can see you've got regular crank down stabilizers, scissor type, takes a 3/4 inch socket or the crank that's supplied with it. Most people use socket or attachment on the end of an electric drill these days. You have antenna out here and power for a TV set. Your steps fold down. Let me do that. You gotta have the door open all the way to do this, or else it'll hit right here, so keep that in mind. Folds down. You can adjust the legs for uneven terrain. You just pull this pin right here. Oops, right here. I didn't want to pull it, but I did. And you can adjust the legs, just sliding them up and down to adapt to the terrain. That is just your furnace. Wait a minute, I got to get it in frame here. Oh, I lost it. What the hell? Oh, there it is. It's just a shadow. Okay, that's just your furnace vent. You got outside speakers, a power awning with an LED strip. This is your range hood vent. So if you're using the range hood fan above the stove in there, keep in mind if you're going to use the fan, you got to open this up here so this baffle flaps freely, so it vents properly. Hopefully you can see that with the sun glaring. But otherwise, you just push it and snap it shut and keep it shut unless you're using it. All right. You have a toy lock here with a cable to lock up your stuff. Okay, you have a. You gotta get on focus here. Please forgive my camera work, but I got one hand here. So you have a Husky hitch with a stabilizer, or I mean a sway control, excuse me. We'll show you how that works when you come to pick it up. This is your crank that I told you about, if you can see it, 3/4 inch. This little crank here is in case your tongue jack fails. You can just unscrew this cap and you stick that crank in there, and you can actually just crank it manually to get yourself out of trouble. All right, you've got two 20-pound tanks, a power tongue jack. This LP regulator is an automatic changeover regulator, so it'll draw this tank down, then this tank. It goes back and forth. This is not a tank selector, even though it looks like one. It's just a gauge. You see it's green, and because of the little indicator here, it's pointed at this tank. It's telling you that there's gas in that tank. If you go this way, it's telling you that there's gas in this tank. If it turns red, the tank's empty. Something you would probably know already anyway, but that's how it works. And you got a deep cycle marine battery right there. All right, so this is your water heater. Now the water heater works on gas and electric. Okay, one thing you have to remember is that there's a switch down here. You can sort of, hopefully you'll see it better on the video than you can on my screen on my phone here, but right now it's off. If you turn this on, there's an electric heating element behind this cover here, and it turns on your electric heating element. So it's just a switch just for that heating element. Now the gas, you just light it inside. Some trailers will have a second switch inside. I don't know if this one does or not. We'll see when we get there. That's sort of a redundant switch here. But this is sort of a holdover from when the electric switch was always here. But we'll see when we get inside what you have. But either way, to use it, this has to be in the on position. Always make sure there's water in the tank before you turn on the heating element or light the flame. All right, and that's your drain right there. It takes an 1 1/16 socket. It's got an anode rod on the back, so it's really long. So that's that. Okay. So, all right, so these are your dump valves here. This is shut when they're in, okay? Your cap is right here. So you would take the cap off. Obviously, you're gonna put your hose on here. The other one goes in the dump station. Then you're gonna pull the black tank first and dump it. After it dumps, you'll dump the gray second. The reason you do that, the black tank is obviously it's toilet water and waste, and then the gray is sink and shower water. So the gray water is just cleaner than the black water, so you're going to dump that first, so the gray water will clean out the hose a bit. Now this also has a black tank flush on it. So to operate the black tank flush, you're going to leave the valve open. You got to have the valve open before you turn on any water. Then you're going to come up here, and you would hook your hose at the dump station right here, and then turn it on, and it'll spray the inside of your tank, your black tank. It'll clean off the sensors and clean it out even better. But you got to have the valve open like it is now. It'll tell you right here on this sticker. It's just so too much pressure doesn't build up, okay? All right, so there's two ways to get water to the trailer. The most common way is your city water connection. So you're just gonna put your hose on here, turn it on, and you're all set, ready to go. If you're rustic camping or at a park that doesn't have plumbing on the campsite, you could fill this fresh water tank up ahead of time. It has an onboard fresh water tank, so you fill it up, and then you can use the electric pump inside to pump the water, so it works just like you have city water. These are totally independent of each other. If you're using one, you don't have to think about the other. This is just a shower for kids and dogs and feet, and just hot and cold water. This is a service panel for your refrigerator. You don't really have to go in there. That's just for service. This is where your 30 amp shore cord hooks up, your power cord. Your cord is 25 feet long and 30 amp. All right. Vents, of course, for your garage. That is just cable or satellite through to the entertainment area, just a coax through. Okay, and of course you have your back door here, your deck and or ramp. So we're going to turn it into the deck right now. It's not very heavy. I'm going to do this one first because I got to use my right hand to hold it up here. So this is pretty straightforward. You're just going to, works like, they all work pretty much the same. So you're just going to do this. Let me back up so you can see it. Okay. You're going to do this one here, like so. Now you're just going to pull it back. It's got a counterbalance. You see it's got springs down here to counterbalance it, so it's not heavy. It's got one hand here holding it. And there you have it. Just like that. We'll fold the fencing out when we get inside, just because I didn't bring a step stool to get up on there. So we'll do that from in here. So yeah, if you see, you have a screen that comes down, so you can use the screen. This is normally strapped with this right here. You can see the strap there. The strap will go right around this whole thing to hold these together, just so they don't rattle around when you're traveling. So you're going to go out like so, like this. This thing down here, this latch, there's a little catch that goes into it. You can see, let me see. Right, like that. Actually, I'll have to adjust that a little bit for you. Yep, I'll make a small adjustment on that one. I've already adjusted it once, but apparently I didn't do a good enough job. Oh, I don't know, that should go. Here, let's see. So you undo this Velcro here, and you can pull this one out. Maybe this is the issue here. Yeah, so it went in that time. Okay, and then to release it, you just step on that little pedal there, that release, to release it, okay? Now this one comes around and does the same thing, right there. So you got half of it up right there. Then we take the other half, and you got to come up over. We'll undo it right here, like we did with the other one. We'll snap it into place. So you can see it went in right there. And then we're going to do with the other one right here. There you have it. So there's your fence or gate or rail, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so this folds out of the way, this couch. You could fold flat to a bed, or you can fold it up onto the wall to get it out of the way. Very simple, very self-evident. The table obviously folds up and you can get it out of the way. You have a TV and a stereo here. This plays CDs and DVDs in here. You also can stream off this USB stick here. You can hook up wirelessly with your phone or tablet, and using Bluetooth and play your MP3s that way. This here is the signal booster for the digital antenna. So you always want it, you can shut it off, but you always want it green like that, or you get a lousy picture over the air. So you always want that to be green. Alright, so your range, you just spark it to light it. I don't know if the gas is on or not, we'll find out in a second here. Nope, let me go outside and turn it on. I was just going to say, you can take my word for it, but I'll go out there and turn it on to make sure it's okay. Alright. Back in. Actually, it was on. I think the gas just hasn't worked its way up yet, because we just had them disconnected, so we'll give it a second here. There we go. So now that the gas has worked its way through the line, we're all set. So basically, you're just going to turn it to the flame here, which is light. Then you turn this clockwise, and it lights. Alright. The oven is a little different. Let me turn some lights on here. Oh, I got the switch over here. Switch is here and here. Hold on one second here. See what I'm doing wrong. Other than the fact we're not plugged in, I think that's just the issue. Your battery will be charged up by the time we give it to you, but apparently it's not. So, okay, to light this, there's a pilot light right back there if you can see it. So what you're going to do is you're going to come up here to pilot, and you're going to depress it and hold it. You keep holding it in, then you're going to spark this by turning it clockwise. When the pilot light lights, you're still going to hold this for another 10 seconds or so to heat it up. And after that point, you'll go to your operating temperature. It'll cycle through like a normal oven, obviously, but then when you shut it off, the flame will go out, but so does the pilot light. So you have to relight the pilot light each time. Okay? Now, while we're down here, I left these panels off so you can see about winterizing it. These panels go under here. They'll be in place when you pick up your trailer. But this is your winterizing line right here. So this is going to go into the gallon of antifreeze. This is the selector for it. You have two of them here actually. So when these valve handles are parallel with the line, that means it's open. So right now you can see that the antifreeze input line is closed, but the line that goes down to the water tank is open. So that means right now, if you turn on the water pump and you have water in the tank, it'll pump the water. Before you draw antifreeze in, you're going to switch them. You're going to close this one here and then open that one so you can put that end into a gallon of antifreeze and draw it through the system. Alright, so that's why I left those out so you could see it. Okay, now you have to bypass your water heater, and your water heater, just so you know, you pick up the bed right here. Let me see if I can get a good grip on it. And underneath there, to the door side, is where you find your water heater. There are bypass valves on the back. You have to bypass the water heater before you pump any antifreeze into it. You can't get antifreeze into the water heater tank because it'll leave a really foul taste. That won't go away. So that's very important. Alright. So if you may know all this already. I don't know how much you know about if you've used trailers before, so I'm just assuming that you don't so I don't miss anything. But the bottom line is you can't get antifreeze into the water heater tank because it'll leave a foul taste and a bad smell, and you won't be able to get rid of it, so you have to bypass it. Always close your cover before you travel or it will break. I told you you have to open the vent outside. There's the fan there. Okay. Let's see here. This plug here is a GFCI, so all the plugs in the trailer are wired through this one. So if you're using a coffee pot outside and it pops, you're going to reset it here. Also, this down here is your power converter. It converts 110 AC down to 12 volt DC. Alright, you open it up just by pushing on it. So you see you got regular household circuit breakers here. And they're labeled. This is for 110 AC. Then the power is converted down to 12 volt DC over on this side. You see you got 15 amp fuses and they're labeled. If any of these fuses were to blow, they'll actually light up and you can see them through this tinted plastic here. Okay? And also this is a battery tender, so it'll send so much energy your battery needs up front, and if it's totally charged, this is as long as you're plugged in now. If it's totally charged, it'll just trickle a couple amps up to it. If it's low, it'll send 10 amps or whatever you need, okay? Alright. Your refrigerator is just, it works on 110 AC or LP gas. So it's a gas absorption refrigerator. This is the simplest one they make. You just turn it on, basically. It always seeks out electricity first. So electricity takes parameters. So as soon as you turn it on, it's going to look for electricity. Now it couldn't find it because we weren't plugged in. If you notice outside, I didn't have the plug in. So it's flashing. It's telling you that it's switching to gas, right? So if it flashes, it means basically that it didn't light, right? So it would want you to shut it off and turn it back on again to work it through, so it can push any air out of the line, whatever. So if it doesn't light, then you just basically turn it off and turn it on again, and it will cycle through again, okay? But right now, and also to shut it off, you hold it for a few seconds to shut it off, okay? But the bottom line is it always searches out for AC power first. So let's say you're camping and you're running it on AC power and you have a power failure in the middle of the night. It'll automatically switch over to gas, right? But if you want to pull it down the road on gas and you're not plugged in, it'll look for electricity and then it'll light on gas because gas is always the second choice. So if you want to pull it down the road while it's on gas to keep it cool, you're just going to turn it on and it'll realize that there's no electricity and go for the gas. Hopefully that made sense to you. Sometimes they go a long way to just a little bit. So, all right. So this is just your thermostat. It's just an analog thermostat. You always want to be on auto if you can. So the fan speed's always on auto. You put it all the way over to the left for cooling, all the way to the right for heat, and then fan is just the air conditioner running without the compressor, so it just circulates air. So it's very simple, obviously. Let me see here. I think I've covered just about all of it, but let me look around. The microwave works like any other microwave. There's nothing unique about it. Here we go. This is the carbon monoxide and LP gas detector right here. If I can get a picture of it right there. It should always be green like that. If it's not, you get it serviced. So basically it'll go off if it senses carbon monoxide buildup or LP gas leak. It'll go off. So if that happens, you're just going to take everybody outside, shut off the gas at the front and figure out what's going on. Also, if it beeps very slowly, it's telling you that your battery's low. So it's also a low battery alarm, but that'll be very slowly. Here, let me set it off so you can hear the normal sound of it. That's what it sounds like. It'll go through two self-tests, one more coming up, and then back to green. So it should always be green. If not, get it serviced. Okay, so the TV works like any other TV. I think I've pretty much covered everything. The last thing, obviously, is there's a vent fan in your bathroom, and you want to run it with the shower also to pull the humidity out. The toilet, you have to remember that you can't use it dry or without chemical. So basically, what it comes down to, and there's even a diagram there showing you that, but when you have to have chemical in it and a little bit of water to start off with. So when you get to the campground, your black tank is empty. So what you're going to do is you're going to hook up your water, hook up your power. You'll come in here and then you'll take your chemical, whichever chemical you use, a liquid or a powder or pre-measured packets or scoops or whatever you use. You put one dose right in there. Then you'll step on the pedal, and because the water's hooked up, it'll be swirling out here. So you just stand on the pedal. The black tank is directly below. You stand on the pedal and put about a gallon of water in there, 2 gallons tops. the bottom line is you want a little bit of water in the tank with chemical to start off with. You never use it dry. There's no way to tell how much a gallon or two is on the monitor panel. You just sort of have to use common sense. So let's say you're going to stay at the campground, but you filled your black tank and you dumped it. Then you would come back in here and repeat the procedure. You'd put the chemical in a gallon or two of water. All right. Which reminds me about the monitor panel. And one thing I didn't tell you about. So, I mentioned about the switches for electricity. Sometimes they have two of them. This one just has one, the one that I showed you in the lower left hand corner of the water heater. So that's for electric, but if you want to light it on gas, you do it here. Like I said earlier, always make sure there's water in the tank before you light it. This is the water pump I told you about. You use that water pump if you're pumping your fresh water from your fresh water tank, or if you're winterizing. All right. You got a power awning, which is right here. Which again, I don't have a plug in here, but you push it right here, and to extend it that way to attract it. Basically, you just run it out until you can see the awning tube. All right. And then your monitor panel here, you press it, and you can see it's the battery is not charged very well. The freshwater tank does have water in it, but we're still water testing it. The black tank is empty. As it fills, it'll graduate up at 1/3 increments till it's full. Same way with your gray tank. So once you get past 2/3 with your gray and black tank, you got to start thinking about dumping it. Okay, so I think that does it. Let me look around again, see if I'm forgetting anything. I don't think I am. Okay. All right, so that's basically it. So the other thing I need to tell you is that you have to inspect your roof. Very important that you go up on your roof 3 times a year. You can walk up there, no problem. So you figure in the spring and in the fall, and then once in the middle of the summer, you go up on the roof and you look at the seals. And you want the seals to be nice and tight, or sealant I'll call it, because it's a lap sealant. So no cracking or separation starting, anything like that. Sometime when you go up there over the years, you're going to see some, usually at a corner area, but you'll see a place where you're starting to see separation. As soon as you see that, you get it taken care of. You either do it yourself or you get it done. But you have to inspect your roof. That's very important. Okay? All right then. So thank you very much for purchasing your trailer from National RV Detroit. And we'll talk to you during your walkthrough a bit and show you how the hitch works and get you going. Okay? Thank you very much.